Hey everyone, and welcome to the Holly Lolly channel. Our trees are in full bloom. It's just incredibly beautiful. What's the weather like where you are? Let me know in the comments. I decided to make another video about my daily life in Japan because I see that you enjoy this topic. It'll probably be a compilation of several days from my life in Japan, not just one, because I don't go to interesting places or do anything extraordinary that's worth showing every day. In today's episode, you'll see miniature technology that will definitely surprise you, a gamer's room where you can not only play but almost live, and books about poop and butts, all for educational purposes. I'll eat raw meat, which is officially forbidden in Japan, make instant noodles of my own design, show you a Japanese-style ottoman table, and visit plastic food shops that are impossible to tear yourself away from. At the very beginning, I wanted to tell you a little about some unusual things that impressed me in Japanese schools and kindergartens. So hit like, subscribe to the channel, and let's go see the strangest and most amazing things Japan has to offer. You know, the charm of a Japanese apartment is that you live like you're in a fairy tale house. I'm a blogger, and I need to record videos without background noise, but I can't. I haven't been able to find a moment when no one is home for a week. Please excuse the setting. Outside, my camera just flies away and I get blown around by the wind. So I found this little corner. It's April now. Of course, I don't know when I'll upload this video, but it's April, and it's the September 1st period when children go to school. I have a lot of Japanese magazines and notes. I found some of them, and before I throw them away, I wanted to show you some very interesting things. Next, we were given brochures like these, which explain what's needed to prepare a child. Anya is going into first grade after kindergarten. They definitely need these uwabaki slippers to change into. They are always light-colored, usually white, because it's a symbol of cleanliness. When a child arrives at school, they change into these slippers and wear them around. There's also a detailed instruction here on where to write the student's name and even where to find the store where you can buy these slippers. I was also very pleased that the entire brochure was translated for us so we could understand the school rules, what's allowed and what's not. It explains how to dress your child, what to feed them, and generally everything about everything, as Japanese people love detailed instructions. I found our old menu from previous years, and I wanted to note that every day, if you have a child who goes to school, you receive feedback from the school. They will definitely give you brochures, newspapers, or printouts. And you know, it's very sweet because they care so much. There's a person who sits every day and writes down what your child did, how, and where they went. In general, it's very engaging. But sometimes, honestly, when you have a very busy schedule and you have to sit and translate all of it, it can be a bit tiring. But from another point of view, I'm the foreigner in Japan, not them. In general, for every month, if your child attends a Japanese school, you receive a menu with a detailed description of what your child will eat. And there are always very sweet rules and notes. It says here that you receive a full meal. Here's a reminder that you should thank the people who put in their effort to prepare this food in growing the plants from which your food was prepared. For example, there's a rule about not eating in front of gadgets, and to eat healthy food, even if you don't like it, as long as it's good for you and that it's more fun to eat together. These are some interesting rules. Here, you're supposed to circle if you follow these rules, put a cross if you don't, and I think a little triangle means you partially follow them. Here, I believe, it's also about the importance of good table manners. This page also mentions that children used to always eat together, but during the pandemic, everyone received their lunch separately and ate at their own tables. The school announces that it plans to return to children sitting and eating in groups to encourage easy communication and interaction. Parents are also thanked here for always making sure their child's uniform is clean. This is a smock, like a chef's coat, but not for cooking. It's for serving food. Children serve themselves. Parents and the school administration are thanked for keeping this smock clean, and for parents to sew on any buttons that might come off. In Japan, everything is always expressed through gratitude. They thank everyone, always. There are also tips from a dietitian here. And there was a school event, and they describe the festive menu they had. So, every day you receive something from them and can read it. Well, that's great. What do you think? Write in the comments. I also found an old menu, and here we can also see rules on how to use chopsticks, table manners, etiquette rules, how to correctly hold a plate, how to pick up chopsticks, and how to use them. It's very interesting and nice for children that they'll always be guided and taught everything. There's an instruction for every situation. Japanese people are very structured because they are introduced to this culture from childhood, where everything is written down, you need to study it and follow the rules, and there are rules for everything. Here's a very touching article that talks about school lunches. It says that children received free lunches at school. These lunches stopped during the war because it was difficult, and it shows what children received instead. Then, after the war, America helped by importing powdered milk to Japan, and in connection with this, it shows how Japanese school lunches differed after the war. Initially, they had a minimal selection, and then gradually, conditions for school meals began to improve and expand. It also talks about the war and the current school nutrition, how balanced it is compared to what children used to eat. I also wanted to say that I am very grateful to the school administration for translating the rules for us. The children were going on a field trip, and we were given 2 sheets, or rather 4 sheets for me. 2 sheets in Japanese and 2 with the translation. And please excuse me, these papers are old and not in the best condition. And here are all the rules written down. For example, always label your belongings, bring a backpack, always bring lunch, wet wipes, a sitting mat, a thermos, tissues, plastic bags, and a pouch with napkins and tissues. If you get car sick, bring medicine, a raincoat, and snacks, such as cookies and gummies. Lunch should not be shared with others. Everyone brings their own. Then it says what you must promise. For example, to get along with your friends, not to argue, to wait in line, not to get distracted, and to quickly know that other members of the group are waiting for you. Whenever I read these instructions, it always says to think about other members of the group. When you walk through the building, think about other visitors. Walk calmly, stick together, and act cooperatively. There are also rules of conduct on the bus and other rules, just so I don't overwhelm you with all of it here. And it even shows what snacks you bring should look like, and how a packed snack should look and be sealed. A Japanese student has instructions for everything: where to go, what to look at, what to bring, what to sit on. Japanese people don't have a situation where someone didn't get something, etc. They are taught from kindergarten to follow rules and comply with everything, and they're always prepared for everything. You know what else I'd compare it to? For instance, in my childhood, almost everyone took dance lessons. But in Japanese schools, I've noticed that almost all children play some kind of musical instrument. We bought something for Sasha. It has a Japanese name, but it's a keyboard instrument. It looks like a small synthesizer, but they blow into a tube and play it. It's an interesting device. If you know the name, please write it in the comments. And all the children receive a musical education at school. I think it's very interesting and beneficial. And musical education really develops children in a well-rounded way. Now, I also want to tell you about kindergarten. When a child starts kindergarten, they receive an attendance journal. Every day when the child comes to kindergarten, they choose a sticker and paste it into the journal so everyone knows that the child didn't miss kindergarten on a specific day. I hadn't encountered this before. I don't know if it's in all kindergartens or not, but we had a great kindergarten, and Anya had to choose a mandatory additional activity. In our case, it was French. A Frenchman would come and constantly play French songs, and they really loved it. Anya also chose rhythmic gymnastics, and here too, of course, we were given instructions on how the children should look and what kind of sports uniform they should have. We bought a bag like this, and it held various balls, jump ropes, and other accessories needed for these physical education classes. Honestly, I don't remember why we didn't use this thing. According to the instructions, you were supposed to iron it onto the uniform. Perhaps it was for some competition, but I don't remember and am just guessing now. Maybe it was to make your uniform stand out and be personalized. And here, if I'm not mistaken, are rules and general recommendations. For example, why rhythmic gymnastics is beneficial. There are also photos of children who participated in competitions to motivate other children to participate and win some small awards and prizes. And again, it talks about the benefits of playing sports and how it will affect your height, strength, and endurance. Overall, I think it's great when they motivate you like that. And also, I don't know how this happens in Japanese families, whether only parents read these instructions, or if it happens with the children. But in any case, it's very interesting. I've certainly had situations, to be honest, where I thought it was some kind of promotional material and I threw it away, and then I was told that half a year ago, I was given a certain sheet and I needed to read the information there. And I realized that I was given a lot of things half a year ago, and I can't say that I wasn't given the sheet because surely I was. Just imagine that every day you receive 5 sheets and sometimes 10 sheets. And if you store all of it every day, your apartment will be filled with waste paper. So sometimes I throw it away. So sometimes I feel ashamed about that. And that's why I've learned from previous experience and don't throw away such brochures. I keep them. But since Anya has finished kindergarten, I can now throw all of this away with a clear conscience. In Japanese kindergartens, parents collect these bells for their children. Again, we are given a brochure, and I think this collection happens once a quarter. There's a list of products that have these bells on them, and these products are slightly more expensive, literally 5 to 10 yen more, than similar products without these bells. But by buying them, you can donate money to charity. It even says where this money will go. And knowing the Japanese, I'm sure that money really does go there. So for example, in the store you might buy milk for 310 yen, but it will have a bell like this on it. So I'll buy this milk and support, for example, sick children, or a special organization that collects such funds. And the bell itself is cut out and taken to the kindergarten. And then the kindergartens even seem to compete among themselves to see who collected the most of these bells. The winner receives either literature to help children develop or some kind of sports equipment as a gift. And also, by the way, I found these 2 brochures and decided to tell you about them because I often praise Japan when I truly believe we can learn from them. For example, we encountered the problem of needing to straighten our child's teeth because of an improper bite formation. In Japan, we straightened his teeth for a year and a half. First, my son wore a plate that was supposed to widen his jaw. I don't remember how long, but he wore it for more than half a year. And then, after that time, he wore a removable plate that was also supposed to help his teeth move into the correct position. And what happened next? For instance, I wore braces, and when they are removed, retainers are put in place so that the teeth don't shift back to their original position. Here, I learned that retainers are not installed. I asked what would happen if the teeth shifted back again, and they replied that there was nothing that could be done then. Like, you tried, you did what you could, but it didn't help. They don't use retainers. That's what happened to us. First, my son wore the expander for a year and a half, then this removable plate, and then somehow his teeth were supposed to stabilize. But in our case, unfortunately, his teeth shifted back, and those year and a half of efforts did not lead to success. That's why we often fly abroad, and there we had a proper fixed plate installed, because here, for some reason, they only use removable ones, and children always like to take removable ones off. For now, the child is wearing it, and we were told that after 6 months of wearing this fixed plate, the teeth should become stable and stay in place. In short, I'll judge after some time, but so far, the Japanese removable plate, unfortunately, hasn't helped us. Living in Japan means being surprised every day, no matter if you've been here a week, 3 years, or were born in Tokyo. It seems the surprises never end. There are unusual goods, strange little things, and places you don't even notice right away. Look, there's a bicycle parking lot, and next to it is a circus bicycle like this. And it's even decorated in a child-friendly style, which suggests that even a 5-7-year-old child should be able to ride a unicycle quite normally. We arrived, and in our building's entrance, someone was giving away dishes. Interesting. I've never seen anything like that before. All the dishes look new. Most likely, the owners just didn't need them, and it was a shame to throw them away. Most of them were eventually taken by neighbors, and what was left, the owners most likely took back. Look, what a convenient device by the door. You can leave umbrellas there and not bring all the water into the house. In Japan, the cult of food is a fact. Here, food is not just tasty, but also beautiful. And to attract visitors, restaurants display models of their dishes in their windows. It's convenient. Even before going inside, you can see exactly what they serve and how it will look. But what especially surprised me is that in Tokyo, there are entire stores that sell these food models. Every breaded shrimp, every slice of salmon, every strawberry, even drops of sauce. Everything is so detailed that it looks just as appetizing as real food. It is in such workshops that restaurants order plastic menus and display them in their windows. And what's most surprising is that the price doesn't depend on the complexity of the model, as one might think, but on the cost of the real dish. If ramen at a restaurant costs $8, a replica of that same ramen can cost about $80. The price of a replica is usually 10 times more than the actual dish. And in such workshops, you can also buy a kit to make a dish model yourself. In my opinion, it's an ideal souvenir or gift. Not a trivial magnet, but a truly unusual item from Japan. If you find yourself in a Japanese electronics store, you can get lost there for a long time. For example, I saw a room for a gamer. It's like a tent that fits everything: a desk, a chair, a monitor, a system unit. Given the small size of Japanese apartments, this is not a joke, but a real solution. I recommend you take a stroll through Big Camera, because here you will definitely find super unexpected goods and electronics. I was charmed by a small, soft table that can be used as an ottoman. It's very comfortable and functional, and the design is really cool too. You can put a laptop on it, use it as a pillow for your head, or even sit on it. And that's not all. In Japan, you can find micro dishwashers, washing machines just for shoes, compact multi-cookers, and grills. Everything is miniature, neat, and fits even in the smallest apartment. Sometimes it seems like everything in Japan is small. Appliances, rooms, even doors. Walking through the streets of Shinjuku, I noticed a bar entrance with such a low door that even with my small height, I would have to duck. Of course, I didn't get too close. I didn't want to invade someone else's space. And honestly, when a not-so-happy Japanese man came out of the bar, I realized that tourists' curiosity can be tiring. Bookstores can also surprise you. In them, you'll see books where the main characters are poop and the softest part of the human body. And these are children's books. Maybe for some this will seem strange, but in reality, it makes sense. Such books help children better understand how their bodies work. They talk about digestion, but not in a boring way, but through funny characters. And I think that's wonderful. The main thing is for children to find it interesting and understandable. Would you buy such a book for your child? Write in the comments. Let me tell you about a place I accidentally found in Tokyo when I first arrived and fell in love with it, but I didn't save it and lost it. And for a long time I tried to find it. Remember which station it was near, but I forgot. You know, there are so many hidden locations in Tokyo that even years later, you keep finding new ones. I don't know how many years you'd need to live here to see at least half of the interesting spots. Some of them are literally hidden. Finally, I found this very place. It's a narrow street not far from Shinokubo Station, known as Yurakucho Underpass Alley. The railway runs above it, with the Shinkansen speeding overhead. It feels like you've stepped onto the set of an atmospheric film. To get there, you need to go under the bridge, and in just a few steps, you'll find yourself in the glow of signs among tiny bars and restaurants. I highly recommend checking it out. If I had more time, I would gladly stay longer at one of these establishments. Another proof of why Japan is a country of contrasts. For example, here I often see cars with bright anime designs or Shinkansen trains that look like they're from the future. They truly look like spaceships. Subway is clean, full of technology, giving you the complete feeling that you're somewhere in 2050. And suddenly, right at the exit of this futuristic subway, you can see old trucks from which the aroma of baked sweet potatoes emanates. And personally, I associate this with a village, with something cozy from childhood. This is Japan, a country where, in a second, you can travel from a technological future to the atmosphere of the past. I want to share about an unusual place my family and I visited, the Cup Noodle Museum in Yokohama. Japanese museums are a unique art form. They're interactive, creative, and even surprise adults. This museum is dedicated to the history of instant noodle invention and its creator, Momofuku Ando. Japanese people call him Mr. Noodles. The museum is open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Admission costs 500 yen for adults, but to ensure entry, tickets must be booked in advance on the official website. The flow of people, especially during peak season, is too high, and without a prior reservation, you might not be able to visit this place. Here, you can see over 3,000 instant noodle packages from all over the world, dating back to 1958. One of the halls is an exact replica of the shed where Ando first created the magical chicken ramen. After World War II, Japan faced severe hunger. Ando observed long queues of people trying to get a bowl of noodles. At that moment, he considered creating an accessible and nutritious product that could help fight hunger. He was inspired by his wife, who was deep frying something. This sparked the idea of using the oil frying method to dry noodles, which allowed them to be preserved and quickly prepared by simply adding boiling water. Thus, in 1958, the world's first instant chicken ramen was born. However, the difficulties didn't end there. Ando faced the problem of packaging the noodles. The solution came unexpectedly. Instead of putting the noodles into a cup, he decided to form the cup around the noodles. Despite the emergence of competitors, Ando managed to bring his product to the global market, making it popular in many countries. Every visitor can create their own version of the noodles. You are given 1 cup per person. Please don't open it immediately. Then, you draw your design on the cup. After that, you get in line. Be prepared to wait in line for about an hour at this stage to get to the assembly line. There, they will fill your cup with noodles, offer you a choice of broth flavor, and 4 ingredients, such as corn, meat, cheese, onions, shrimp, and much more. After that, everything is sealed and packaged, and your exclusive cup noodles are ready. We really enjoyed the museum. It's not just entertainment, but a true immersion in history, showing the perseverance and care for people that went into creating such a seemingly simple thing, instant noodles. Write in the comments if you would like to visit this museum and make your own noodles. I decided to share a small story with you that recently happened. It might seem like a small thing, but I think it really shows the Japanese people's care for others. So, I had a little tradition, a ritual. My sister and I would order chicken quesadillas on certain days. They are incredibly delicious. This isn't an advertisement, but it's just something we love and something we've been ordering for about 2 years on specific days because the restaurant isn't open every day, and it was our little ritual. Then 2 weeks ago, this chicken quesadilla simply disappeared from the menu. The restaurant was open, all other items were there, but our favorite dish was gone. Of course, I was sad. 2 weeks later, when I was ordering another dish, I decided to write a comment to them in Japanese, saying that in my opinion, their chicken quesadilla was the best dish in the restaurant, that it was very sad it had disappeared, and that our whole family would be waiting for this dish to return to the menu. And what do you think? My dish was delivered, and they included a little note like this. In short, I translated it, and it said that they were very sorry for the situation. Apparently, they had mistakenly removed the option to buy that specific item from their removed orders section. They thanked me for pointing it out, offered their deepest apologies, and said that they would add the item back starting the next day. And spoiler alert, they really did add it back the next day, and I am incredibly happy, so I decided to show you this note. I don't know if they would have reacted this way in other countries, but it was very polite. They not only explained the reason, but also apologized and corrected their mistake. I don't know, it's a small thing, but it was very, very pleasant. My sincere recommendation for everyone planning to visit Japan is to try shabu shabu. It's a way of cooking food right at your table. A pot with 2 kinds of broth is placed in front of you, and you cook your own meat, vegetables, mushrooms, tofu, and so on. Very thinly sliced beef is usually used, which you only need to dip into the broth for a very short time, and that's it. It's ready. It turns out tender, juicy, and incredibly delicious. In many Japanese cafes and restaurants, you're greeted not by a waiter, but by a cute cat robot. It brings food, sometimes even talks, and then politely drives away to serve other tables. And for us, this isn't the first time, but it still brings a smile to our faces every time. I want to share an unusual, perhaps even a little shocking life hack with you. If you want to try truly traditional Japanese cuisine, you should know about a dish that you won't find on any menu. It's called yuke, and it's completely raw meat, usually beef. It's served on a fresh lettuce leaf with a sauce that includes a raw egg yolk. It sounds quite extreme, especially if you've never tried anything like it before. But Japanese people absolutely love yuke. They consider it a delicacy, and many eat it with pleasure. This dish isn't sold openly, possibly due to sanitary restrictions. But if you speak Japanese, you can ask the staff if it's possible to prepare yuke if you're in any meat restaurant. We were in a restaurant with our friend, who has lived in Japan for many years and speaks fluent Japanese. She asked the waitress if we could order yuke, and they brought it to us with a smile. If we had asked in English, I'm not sure, but most likely we would have been refused. In some Japanese restaurants, waiters, especially in high-end establishments, take orders while kneeling. This might look unusual, but it's actually a sign of respect and reverence for the guest. This style of service emphasizes that you are not just a customer here, but a respected guest who they want to provide with maximum comfort and attention. Honestly, it was scary to try, and very unusual. They spent about 20 minutes persuading me to do it. Because of the fresh lettuce and sauce, the taste of the meat is barely noticeable. I really only tried one tiny piece, but the mere thought of eating raw meat didn't give me peace of mind. Honestly, I probably wouldn't try it a second time, but it was an interesting and unusual experience. Friends, would you dare to try such a dish, or are you strictly against similar raw products?